Welcome back to the second part of the 12th episode of India Shining. In the last part, we saw a coverage on the monetary policies, a little bit on the physical space, and then also on the international news, and a little bit on the national news. We are continuing with the national policies, which could be of great impact to our country. The first thing that we would like to cover in this part is Pradhan Mantri Digital Health Mission. So this is being implemented as a pilot phase in 6 union territories. So it's based on the JAM Trinity, which is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile, which is actually reigniting the entire imagination of our country, and it is actually making a lot of things reach the last mile and common citizens. So this idea of this entire Pradhan Mantri Digital Health Mission is to provide a seamless online platform of health-related personal information. So this mission will enable access and exchange of health records of citizens with their consent, obviously with their consent. And there will be a health ID for every citizen, to which all the personal health records can be linked and viewed. Now, what could be the big advantage of something like this is that, let's say I am allergic to penicillin, and then I meet with an accident, and then I'm getting admitted in an emergency, and they don't have no clue about what is my blood group, what are my allergies, what are my what am I intolerant to. Now, all they need to do is to use this health ID. Maybe they can capture my fingerprint and then maybe able to access my data, and then they would know that these are the things that I'm intolerant to, these are the allergies, and then maybe penicillin doesn't suit me. So this can have a far-reaching impact, number one. Number two, it will also act as a national repository of each citizen's health data. So there's going to be a healthcare professional registry and healthcare facilities registry that will act as a repository for all healthcare service providers, both modern and traditional system of medicine, which means your homeopathy, Ayurvedic, Siddha and Unani or database details can also be linked to this. So it will ensure that there is an ease of doing business for doctors, hospitals and healthcare service providers. So this particular Pradhan Mantri Digital Health Mission will have a sandbox which is created as a part of the mission, and it will act as a framework of technology where other players can build blocks over this software. Like we know, Apple and the Android provide you a platform where you can use certain inputs from the mobile phone, and then you can build a lot of software applications over that. On the same way, this will have a sandbox, and other players can take some data, obviously with the consent of the person who holds this health ID, and then maybe they will be able to build an app around it. Maybe they'll be able to link the data that they receive from their watch with respect to a sleep pattern, with respect to a heartbeat, and then maybe they'll be able to measure the efficacy of a medicine that had been prescribed by a doctor. So you can actually let your entire imagination wild, because you're going to have a repository of information where all your health data can be fed, and then therefore it will even help in clinical trials and maybe identifying new molecules that can find better cure. So this will also create an interoperability with other digital health ecosystems, similar to the role played by UPI. The Unified Payment Interface has kind of revolutionized the way we are beginning to transact. We moved from cash to credit cards and then debit cards, and then we had net banking, and then we had the UPI payments. So something very similar, things that can be so disproportionate to the effort that is being taken can happen because of this initiative. And all these, all the citizens who onboard this, they will be able to get all their health-related information and healthcare facilities available around the surroundings of the place that they are, just in a click away. The second one, which is once again very similar to what we have been discussing, is a unified health interface. Sometime back we saw about how a unified payment interface has helped revolutionize the way we transact. So on the same line, we are going to have something called as unified health interface. So this follows the success that we had on Aadhaar, UPI, which is unified payment interface, DigiLocker and CoWIN. So India was one of the few countries which actually used a mobile app to track complete vaccination program. In fact, I think the initial initiative was actually taken by Make My Trip, which created this software on pro bono basis, and the government built on that. And today the entire vaccination program is run on that, so citizens are able to log in and get their vaccination certificate and show it to a passport officer or an immigration officer, any one of those things. So the national launch of Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, it coincides with this. Then this UHI will allow you to have a QR code scan which will register the patient. So you have a QR code and you go to a hospital, you show your QR code, the hospital scans the QR code, and all your database is available. So this will also help in post consultation, and the patient health record gets updated automatically, seamlessly, every time you visit a doctor, every time you go to a laboratory, every time you get a test report. All these things will get updated. And this UHI app will also manage the patient's interactions digitally on an interoperable platform. And then this will also adopt a data empowerment and protection architecture called as DAPA, and patients can control the information that they share about their personal health record. So the patients they will have all the control levers, and they can decide what are the kind of data that they are willing to share with the other apps. And for people without a mobile phone, a health ID will be created using their Aadhaar authentication. So we have very little situation where people don't have a mobile phone now, but there's a good possibility a lot of the rural population doesn't have a smartphone, and therefore a health ID which is created using an Aadhaar authentication can actually be a solution to a lot of the challenges the people are facing. The whole aim is to reduce the cost of health, the healthcare cost to be brought down, and also fasten the insurance claim settlements and avoid frauds. Now, some of the things that can happen is that people, who fraudulently onboard a health insurance platform, policy by suppressing the facts. Now, the health insurance providers will be able to cross-check the credibility of your submissions, and therefore we will build an ecosystem which is based on the foundation of honesty and transparency. And all these things actually go on to reduce the cost, because if a company is actually fleeced off, or they are cheated, or there is a intent and therefore there's a loss, the cost does get loaded to a law-abiding citizen. So when you have a system like this, progressively the healthcare cost will come down. So this is another great initiative that can transform the way the rural population starts getting access to quality healthcare at affordable prices. The next big announcement, which is really good, is like we are going to there's a new helicopter policy that has been announced. We have a new civil aviation minister, and he has announced this new helicopter policy. So the idea of the government is to create dedicated hubs and corridors for transport movement of helicopters. So one big change that they have brought in is that all landing charges and parking deposits stand abolished immediately, and this will definitely boost the commercial operations. Now, we all know Airports Authority is on a privatization drive, and the airport capacity across India and the people using air travel has risen multifold. But there are not every small towns and cities, B towns and C towns cannot be serviced by a dedicated fixed wing aircraft. And that is where helicopters come play significantly. So especially if you're going to the Uttarakhand area or the Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Arunachal Pradesh, northeastern states, maybe the populations are small, but then obviously there will be critical movement of people. It could be government officials, it could be healthcare officials, it could be citizens who are doing business, or it could be just a healthcare emergency. So and all these things obviously a fixed wing aircraft cannot service, and therefore helicopter can play a substantial secondary role in transportation of people to these tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So the government is considering to put up a HeliSeva portal, and will grant, and through which all permissions for landing and takeoff or any helicopter flight plan can be approval can be taken online. So initially the government is planning 4 heli hubs to start with. One is going to be in Juhu in Mumbai, then another is going to be in Guwahati, third one is going to be in Delhi, the fourth one is going to be in HAL in Bangalore, so which is in the city. And so the government is basically looking to service, to start with, 10 cities and 82 dedicated routes where these helicopters will be flying. And the first 3 dedicated routes that will be between Juhu and Pune. Mahalakshmi goes to Pune, and then Gandhinagar to Ahmedabad. The government is also very smartly thinking of putting heliports along expressways. So, and this obviously is to evacuate accident victims. So the 3 highways which have been immediately identified to put the heliports are Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, which is almost on the verge of completion and maybe very shortly dedicated to the nation. Then the next one is Ambala-Kotupalli Expressway, and the third one is Amritsar-Bhatinda-Jamnagar Expressway. We discussed some time back in one of the India Shining episodes that this is going to be the petroleum corridor, So we already know Jamnagar is a port where there's a huge petrochemical port, and then Bhatinda has a refinery. Amritsar is very close to the border, and that also, this entire route has got a lot of refineries, and it also goes on to help the energy security of the country. Now, coming back to the helicopter policy, this is going to liberate the way people are going to travel themselves to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and also going to the helicopter-based evacuation is going to become a reality. And what we foresee in coming days is maybe the police and the municipal administrations and a lot of state administrations, large states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, even Tamil Nadu, all these big states, Madhya Pradesh, all these big states, Rajasthan, where the road work, and some of the places where the road networks are not very well developed, like your in states like Uttarakhand, Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh, northeastern states where the road travel takes a longer time, helicopter will become a staple mode of transport. And therefore, this new helicopter policy is definitely to be received and encouraged with wide arms, because we are going to change the way we are traveling. We are going to fly, and India is going to fly. You stay tuned for the next episode, next part of the same episode of India Shining. Till such time we come up with the next part. Stay healthy, stay happy, and let's look forward to a growing and shining India. Thank you.